Please do not take additional chairs. There's enough chairs for everyone, and if you haven't found yours yet, then there's some mistake with the seating. So please don't get additional chairs. That's not good for fire security and stuff. May I kindly ask everyone to take their seats so that we can proceed with the introduction, please?
Can everyone please take their seats, and can the admin staff please close the door?
May I kindly ask everyone to take their seats so we can proceed with the introduction? Thank you. We will now start with the introduction, so please quiet down. Welcome to the introduction of the 23rd International Session of the Oldenburg Model United Nations. Let us briefly introduce ourselves before we start. My name is Lenja Hinrichs. I am the President of the General Assembly, and together with my deputy, Lada Blech, we will guide you through the introduction as well as the opening ceremony later today. Before we begin, we would like to remind you to turn off your phones. In the introduction, we will talk about whom to ask when, the procedures in a committee session, including open debate, closed debate, and amendments, explain important roles in the conference, quickly go through the points and motions again, and give you some general information and advice.
The Secretariat is the highest body of OLMUN. You may contact the Secretariat if no one else is able to answer your questions or if your request is of utmost importance. Each committee has 2 or 3 chairs or presidents. For the sake of simplicity, we will only call them chairs hereafter. You received multiple emails and messages from them already, and they are open for any kind of questions. The chairs will have the authority to decide on issues in their committees and represent the highest position in their committee. Our ombudspersons put together a team of trust persons and received appropriate training by our external partners. If you feel uncomfortable with something or if you just need somebody to talk to, you can approach, call, or message our trust persons or ombudspersons at any time. They will listen to you without judgment and will assist you in finding a solution to your issue. If needed, they can have the right to enforce measurements. The inner circle can be identified through their blue badges. You can always approach a member of the inner circle if you need help. The inner circle consists of about 70 students who started with the preparation of OLMUN 2024 in September of 2023. There will always be a number of inner circle members at our events. In each committee, there will be a number of staffs. Our admin staff is responsible for note passing and general administrative tasks. Please note that our behavioral rules apply to written notes as well. They will check your messages for unallowed content. Our tech staff is responsible for microphones and projectors as well as other technical issues in their committee and during the General Assembly. Furthermore, there are our journalists, photography staff, and TV staff. As you know, the teachers that accompany you here are your MUN directors. The MUN directors are here to support you and guide you.
Each committee session begins with a roll call to check who is present and who is not. Your policy statement can be held as a speech before the lobbying. The policy statement should explain your delegation's aims and inform other delegations about your standpoint. It will be a lot easier to find partners if you hold your policy statement as a speech. After holding the policy statements, the committee will move into the lobbying phase. During the lobbying, you will be in a form of an unmoderated caucus in which the seating order is not in place, so you can move around the room freely. You will have the chance to find like-minded delegations and to merge parts of your resolution with those of others to form one joint resolution. Note passing between delegations is prohibited during voting procedures, but nearly at all other times you can write notes to your fellow delegates to discuss matters privately. Many committees will have a guest speaker holding a speech about their committee's topic. Please inform yourself about them, listen carefully, and prepare questions. The debate starts by the main submitter introducing their resolution and proceeds with speeches in favor and against the resolution. You may only speak when the floor is yielded to you by the president, and you always yield the floor back to them. During time against the resolution, you may hand in an amendment to alter parts of the resolution to your country's position. In the end, the resolution as a whole will be voted upon.
In open debate, after the resolution is introduced, there is no specific time frame for speeches in favor and against, which means that you can hand in amendments right away and do not have to wait until time against the resolution. In closed debate, there will be a specific time frame for either speeches in favor and against the resolution. You can only discuss amendments in time against the resolution. An amendment is an alteration to a clause of a resolution to adapt the resolution to your country's position. You may hand in the amendments with the amendment sheet provided in your survival pack.
The committee session in the space where the debates about the resolution and the amendments take place is called the House. The main submitter of a resolution is the delegation who takes the lead and the main part in drafting the resolution during lobbying time. They have to go to the approval panel after the committee session. The main submitter introduces the draft resolution and gives the first speech in favor. A co-submitter takes part in drafting the resolution along with the main submitter. There will be multiple co-submitters to a resolution, and co-submitters are also encouraged to hold a speech in favor. You can only co-submit one resolution.
A speech may not be interrupted by any point except a point of personal privilege referring to audibility. All other points will be dealt with only when the speaker has finished their speech. A point of personal privilege must refer to the comfort and well-being of the delegate. It may not refer to the content of any speech and may only interrupt a speaker if the speech is inaudible. A point of order may be stated by any delegate who feels that the rules of procedure were not applied appropriately in the respective situation. It indicates that you disagree with the chair's decision. The chair may decide to make a ruling or submit it to the judgment of the assembly. Generally, a point of order must be raised at the time the rules are broken, or else it would be too late. A point of information may be directed to the speaker who has the floor if he has indicated that he is open for points of information. A point of information must be phrased as a question. A series of questions from the same questioner is not in order. There will be one question and the answer without further dialogue. However, a delegate may state a request for a follow-up. The chairs will decide upon such requests on case-to-case basis in the interest of debate. If the request is granted, the speaker will be allowed to make another point of information, which has to be related to the previous one. A second request for a follow-up will not be granted. A point of parliamentary inquiry is a question directed to the chair concerning the procedure of the conference or the rules of procedure. You can bring up this point if you have any uncertainties regarding the procedures. They will address your inquiries and provide explanations regarding the proceedings. A call for the order of the day is a call for the return to the main agenda of the committee, council, or assembly.
A motion can be raised similar to a point. If a delegate proposes a motion, all delegates supporting this motion may state second in order to endorse the motion. If a motion does not get at least 2 seconds, it will be overruled by the chairs. If a delegate does not agree with the motion proposed, they may state objection. If there's at least one objection to a motion, a voting procedure will be entertained. A motion to move to the previous question can be used in order to either move directly into a voting procedure while still being in debate on a resolution or an amendment in an open debate. However, in case the committee currently is in closed debate and time in favor, passing this motion will move the committee directly into time against. A motion to extend debating time decides whether to extend the debate time set by the chair. The chair has the authority to overrule such votes to maintain the schedule. However, chairs are asked to respect the delegates' wishes. A motion to retake votes decides whether the votes should be retaken. A motion to split the House can be used if a delegate wants to retake votes while abandoning the possibility of abstaining. If this motion passes, delegations may only vote in favor or against the resolution or amendment currently discussed. A motion for a roll call vote will force each member of the House to explicitly state its vote in favor, against, or an abstention after being called upon by the President. The chair has the authority to overrule such motions if they do not see a reason for the motion.
A motion to divide the question can be used by delegates in order to separate the resolution into 2 reasonable parts. The specification on how exactly these 2 parts shall look has to be done by the delegate proposing the motion. A motion for an unmoderated caucus will disrupt debate and move the committee into a situation similar to lobbying procedure or vice versa. Delegates are not restricted to the official seating order during unmoderated caucus and can consult each other in order to clarify certain questions which have arisen during debate. This may include coming to agreements with each other on amendments or specific clauses of a resolution. The chair will set the exact time for the unmoderated caucus before entering it. A motion to appeal to the decision of the chair can be employed if delegates get the impression that the chairs did not act in accordance with the rules of procedure. However, if the chairs can prove that they acted accordingly to the rules of procedure, this motion may be overruled. A motion to suspend the meeting may be proposed for a specific time and purpose. The presidency may decide whether this motion is in order. A motion to adjourn the meeting may be proposed in order to reconvene the next day. The chair may decide whether this motion is in order. A request for a follow-up can be raised if a delegate who has previously stated a point of information does not feel like their question has been answered adequately. Whether the request is granted or not depends on the decision of the chairs.
Some more general information for you. Remember to represent your country's views and never your own. And while that may seem challenging, please do stick with it, as it makes the debate much more realistic and also more fun. Never interrupt a speaker, and there will be no direct dialogue between delegates. You cannot address anyone directly by saying things like, "as you were saying," but instead you should say something like, "as the delegate of Belgium was saying." So always refer to delegates in the third person. Use respectful language such as distinguished, esteemed, or honorable. Do not declare war, else you may be excluded from the committee session. Wear your badge and bracelet at all times. You need your badge to access OLMUN events and committee sessions both. Always be on time, as it is very disrespectful to be late. Follow the dress code, meaning appropriate footwear, no sneakers, and a jacket unless your chairs allow you to take them off. Regarding punishments, let your chairs know if you feel uncomfortable with the punishment, but believe me, they are fun, not only for the others, but for you as well. Also, do please follow us on Instagram. The name is OLMUN_official to get some insights on other committees and on evening activities. Also, you can purchase cups outside at the registration for €2. When you give the cups back, you will receive the money back. One last information, the evening activities are excluded from the dress code. Next up, we will continue with the lunch break for your delegates at the BZTG, and then at 1:30 we will continue with the opening ceremony. Thank you for your attention. is on. Honorable delegates, dear guests, please take your seats. The opening ceremony will begin in a few minutes.
Da wurde immer noch ein Stuhl geklaut, ne?
May the House please come to order. The opening ceremony will begin now. We welcome you all to the 23rd session of the Oldenburg Model United Nations. To start, we would like to introduce ourselves once more. My name is Lenja Hinrichs, and I am this year's President of the General Assembly. Along with my deputy, Lada Blech, I will guide you through this opening ceremony. We'd like to say a special welcome to our guests from the US and from Turkey. Thank you for taking on the long journey to participate at OLMUN. Additionally, a very warm welcome to our guest speakers David McAllister, Petra Averbeck, and Jan Christoph Oetjen, our guest speakers for this ceremony. For some general information, as of now, the dress code is in full effect, meaning all of you are required to wear your jackets and to keep them on during the entire opening ceremony. Furthermore, note passing is now in order, meaning you can write formal notes in preparation for the committee session to your fellow delegates. Additionally, we would like to remind each and every one of you that this is a simulation of the United Nations, and as such, we do not take a political stand. Please be mindful of this and do not attempt to boycott certain topics and countries, as it is not professional and disrupt the procedure greatly. If you do try to do such a thing, there will be consequences. For instance, if you choose to walk out of the session for a certain opening speech, you will not be allowed back in.
We will now begin with the roll call, where we will call up every nation in alphabetical order. As you hear your delegation's name, raise your placard high and stay present loudly. Albania. Is Albania present? Albania is not present. Algeria. Andorra. Angola. Antigua and Barbuda. Argentina. Armenia. Australia. Austria. Azerbaijan. Bahamas. Bahrain. Bangladesh. Barbados. Belarus. Belgium. Belize. Benin. Bhutan. Is Bhutan present? Bhutan is not present. Bolivia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Botswana, Brazil, Brunei Darussalam, Bulgaria, Burkina Faso,
Burundi, Cabo Verde, Cambodia, Cameroon, Canada, Central African Republic, Chad, Chile, China, Colombia, Comoros, Congo, Costa Rica, Côte d'Ivoire, Croatia, Cuba, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, Djibouti, Dominica, Dominican Republic, DPR Korea, DR Congo, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador, Equatorial Guinea,
Eritrea, Estonia, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Fiji, Finland, France, Gabon, Gambia, Georgia is not present, Germany, Ghana, Greece, Grenada, Guatemala, Guinea, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Hungary, Iceland, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Jamaica, Japan, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Kiribati is not present, Kuwait is not present, Kyrgyzstan, Lao People's DR,
Latvia, Lebanon, Lesotho, Liberia, Libya, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Madagascar, Malawi, Malaysia, Maldives, Mali, Malta, Marshall Islands, Mauritania, Mauritius, Mexico, Micronesia, Moldova, Monaco, Mongolia, Montenegro, Morocco, Mozambique is not present, Myanmar is also not present.
Namibia, Nauru, Nepal is not present, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nicaragua is not present, Niger, Nigeria, North Macedonia, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Palau, Panama, Papua New Guinea, Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea is not present. Peru, Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Portugal is not present. Qatar, Republic of Korea, Republic of Korea, Romania, Russia, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia,
Senegal, Serbia, Seychelles, Sierra Leone, Singapore, Slovakia, Slovenia, Solomon Islands, Somalia, South Africa, South Sudan, Spain, Sri Lanka, St. Kitts and Nevis, Sudan, Suriname, Sweden, Switzerland, Syria, Tajikistan,
Tanzania, Thailand, Togo, Tonga, Trinidad and Tobago, Tunisia, Turkey, Turkmenistan, Uganda, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, United States of America, Uruguay, Uzbekistan, Vanuatu, Venezuela, Vietnam, Yemen, Zambia, Zimbabwe is not present, Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, Rapid Support Forces, Amnesty International, SpaceX. Is there any delegation present that has not been named?
May the House please quiet down. We will now continue with a speech by our Secretary General, Philip Boons. During that speech, a note passing is not in order, so please don't even try. Philip has worked very thoroughly and diligently at the OLMUN in the past. Most recently as Chief of Staff and member of the Inner Circle at OLMUN 2023. In the span of the past year, he has served as Secretary General, planning and organizing to ensure a smooth procedure for this year, as well as guiding the Inner Circle. Please welcome Philip Boons. I yield the floor to the Honorable Secretary General.
Esteemed delegates, honorable presidency and chairs, dear MUN directors and guests. It's an honor to be standing here in front of you as the Secretary General of OLMUN 2024. On behalf of the Secretariat and the Inner Circle, I would like to welcome all 998 participants who have come together here in Oldenburg for the 23rd annual session of our Model United Nations Conference. Specifically, I want to welcome our patron, Mr. David McAllister, who has been supporting us for many years now. Ms. Petra Averbeck, the Mayoress of Oldenburg, who who is kind enough to express the city's commitment to OLMUN, as well as Mr. Jan-Christoph Oetjen, who spontaneously managed to be with us despite having a tight schedule. First of all, let me express a few words of gratitude. I would like to thank all of the inner circle, chairs and presidents, as well as my colleagues of the Secretariat, for putting this much work and effort into organizing all of this. Also, I would like to thank all teachers for bearing with both us and all the challenges a student-run event such as OLMUN inevitably comes along with. Lastly, I would like to thank all delegates who have made their ways to Oldenburg in order to engage in striving debates. Without you, OLMUN wouldn't be what it is today. Some of you might still remember last year's conference, where we discussed solutions to a multitude of challenges under the motto of breaking old patterns. Unfortunately, conflicts of such scale and severity as they are occurring in these times cannot just be solved in one conference sitting. The challenges we face are complex, and the solutions arguably even more. Yet, we must at least try to make the best out of our shared future. But in order for that to happen, we must act, and also know how to do so. Therefore, I want you to envision a future that is worth fighting for. You, as delegates in front of me, do not just represent yourselves, but the dreams and aspirations of your assigned nations. You represent all the differences and hostility, just as you represent similarities and hope. The standpoint of your delegations may not always align with your own personal beliefs. Hence, it is vital to use this as a platform for exchange and to learn how to find compromises. Part of that is to acknowledge other opinions and try to understand them, even if you don't agree with them specifically. Only if you do that, proper exchange can occur. By being here and participating in our conference, you're engaging in current debates, ranging from fundamental human rights, like the freedom of peaceful assembly, to the war in Sudan and its consequences. I encourage you to see this as an opportunity for personal growth and therefore actively participate in the discussions, even if you have to step out of your comfort zone to do so. Due to the fact that you empower yourselves and hopefully also one another, you motivate each other to reach for a better future, and more importantly, to keep believing in a better world. The tools you learn now will be of immense importance when tackling future challenges, thus getting closer to achieving the major goal. We still stand at a pivotal moment. Climate change causes more extreme outbursts of weather, making it more and more unpredictable. Social inequalities continue to persist, and armed conflicts everywhere around the world threaten world peace, day after day. Only 2 years ago, former Secretary General Jelto Halkans talked about the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Though it is nowhere near resolved, it has faded into the background because of yet another war. The catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza has shown us that there has been an appalling increase in violence against civilians. It is worrying to see how quickly armed conflicts arise and escalate into full-scale wars. In addition, the world is undergoing change at an unprecedented pace. We have arrived in a new age, and we are forced to navigate our way through it. New technologies are rapidly emerging into our everyday lives and improving at an almost unimaginable speed. The development of artificial intelligence has undergone in recent years, for example, is very impressive and also quite fascinating from a technical standpoint. We now live in an age where parts of this speech might have been written by AI, and certainly some of you have used its assistance writing policy statements for your committees. Also, AI can be an amazing tool when it comes to optimizing the energy consumption of data centers or assisting doctors in diagnosing medical conditions. On the other hand, this powerful tool can also be used very effectively to create deepfake messages from politicians or write authentic-looking spam comments on social media. More importantly, bias and discrimination are a common problem of machine learning models. Furthermore, it potentially contributes to a loss of jobs and might lead to socio-economic difficulties. Social media is such a big part of our lives that we are constantly confronted with all those prevalent crises, which may give the impression that there's not much hope left for our generation. It might feel overwhelming at times. However, we are not the first generation to overcome seemingly unsurmountable obstacles. They might have changed in detail over time, but so have our capabilities and possibilities. I wish you fruitful debates during the week, a lot of fun during the evening activities, and an overall amazing experience at this year's conference. The future isn't someone else's responsibility, it is ours. Together we can navigate through this new age. I hereby declare OLMUN 2024 officially opened. Thank you very much. I yield the floor back to the presidency.
Стреляет из автомата.
İki defa yüksek şiddette bir artçı sarsıntı meydana geldi ve hemen sol tarafında gördüğünüz bina yerle bir oldu.
In southern Turkey, buildings crumble like sand.
Governments will reject more drastic measures to cut carbon.
In the U.S., the number of billion-dollar disasters tallied 25 more than any other year.
Pound for pound, by 2050, there'll be more plastic in the ocean than fish.
Russia says it's captured another 4 villages in the Kharkiv region in eastern Ukraine.
Now, as the year saw record heat across the globe, which fueled deadly extreme weather, a glimmer of hope also emerged.
Europe has doubled down on green energy. Last year, for the first time ever, wind and solar overtook gas, nuclear or coal as the continent's largest source of electricity. China is way ahead. At the current rate, will reach its climate targets years ahead of schedule.
Far from being the last generation, we can be the first generation to be sustainable.
We face a moment of truth. Now is the time to deliver. Now is the time to restore trust. And now is the time to inspire hope. And I do have hope.
Now, I kindly ask Mr. David McAllister to approach the stage. We are honored to hear a speech by an esteemed member of the European Parliament. David McAllister was Lower Saxony's Minister-President from 2010 until 2013, after having served as chairman of the CDU group there for 7 years. He received an honorary doctorate degree at the University of Edinburgh in 2012. Currently, he is working in multiple positions in the European Parliament, for example, as chair of the Committee of Foreign Affairs and as a member of the European Parliament's delegation to the EU-UK Parliamentary Partnership Assembly. We are deeply honored to have David McAllister as this year's esteemed patron. Mr. McAllister, you have the floor. Note passing is out of order.
Madam President of the General Assembly Hinrichs, dear Secretary Philip Bruns, Madam Mayor, dear Petra Alphabek, esteemed delegates from A for Afghanistan till Z for Zimbabwe, ladies and gentlemen, let me all welcome you here in Oldenburg. Thank you so much for inviting me to this 23rd edition of the Oldenburg Model United Nations Conference. Having sent you a virtual message at the opening ceremonies in 2021 and 2022, I am absolutely thrilled. I'm absolutely delighted to finally welcome you and join you in presence here at OLMUN for the first time. And I'm very thankful that you have once again picked me as your patron. Since the initial conference in 2001, and this now goes back more than 20 years, the Oldenburg edition of the Model United Nations Conferences has continuously evolved to become more professional. By now, you are the largest Model United Nations in Germany, welcoming more than 700 delegates each year. And it's a fantastic view here on stage. And I'm so happy that this is all taking place in Oldenburg, one of the brightest and best cities of Niedersachsen. Let me thank the organizers who put a lot of effort into this very valuable project. It is not only an excellent way to learn more about the United Nations and global politics, but also an opportunity to forge friendships with people from all over the world and to improve your diplomatic skill set. Honorable delegates, I want to go straight to the point. The 24th of February 2022 has changed everything. We often hear this. Many of you will often say this. I say this too. But I'm not sure if all of us, certainly including myself, have fully realized the extent of what was actually set in motion on this 24th of February more than 2 years ago. On precisely that day, Mr. Putin didn't just break the rules and ended the game. No, he overturned the entire chessboard. 2022 marks the most significant turning point in our security policy since the end of the Cold War. In practice, this means that the assumptions which underpinned our previous security and defense strategies are a relic of an era bygone. Institutions that have shaped the European peace and security architecture during this period and which have always provided a forum for diplomatic exchange with the Russian Federation are simply dysfunctional. The future of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, the OSCE, is uncertain as we approach the 50th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act next year in 2025. Similarly, the Council of Europe is in urgent need of some soul-searching ever since the withdrawal of the Russian Federation. The Kremlin no longer accepts the basic principles of the European security order, which were established after 1990 and which have been recognized by all sides in several treaties. The differences between the parties are so great that they seem irreconcilable. They encompass the core of what has constituted the international rules-based multilateral order. And this includes important principles which are also at the core of the United Nations. The principle of state sovereignty and territorial integrity, the prohibition of the use of force, the non-intervention in the internal affairs of other states, the inviolability of borders, and the right to national self-determination. The Kremlin, on the one hand, and as we say, the West, have developed diametrically different interpretations of exactly these principles, and both interpretations are mutually exclusive. As such, this Russian war of aggression is not only simply an attack on Ukraine, but directly on our rules-based international order and on the European peace and security architecture. A global framework that has prioritized global values such as individual liberty, human rights and democracy, and that has embraced peace, multilateralism and prosperity. This world order, while certainly in the need of reform, has established institutions without which there would be no reason for you to sit exactly in this room in the Weser Emshalle to simulate diplomacy. You know, the United Nations was founded in 1945 to maintain peace, international security, and the respect for universal values. In 1951, only 6 years later, and with a similar objective, the European Coal and Steel Community was founded by Belgium, France, Luxembourg, Italy, the Netherlands, and then West Germany. This organization would decades later become the European Union of today, which I represent as chairman of the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee. Multilateral organizations like the United Nations, like the European Union, are facing continuous internal and external threats. Economic interdependencies are becoming conflictual. Development assistance is being used as a tool of geopolitical expansion, and soft power is being weaponized. Honorable delegates, having been a member of the European Parliament now for 10 years, and serving as chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee for now nearly 7.5 years, allow me to briefly present to you a European perspective on this ever more volatile environment. Besides the already mentioned war of aggression against Ukraine, the weaponization of energy and food, the atrocities and devastation in Israel and Gaza, the coup d'etat in the Sahel region, combined with growing tensions in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait, and I could name many more international conflicts and wars, they have all been a wake-up call for Europe. The pace of geopolitical change is dramatic, and the world, unfortunately, has become a more dangerous place. As French President Emmanuel Macron stated just a week ago during his visit to Germany in Dresden, to quote the President, "We are at an unprecedented point in our history at which we have to reflect on our security and defense alone and for ourselves as Europeans." Unquote. Yes, indeed, in light of all these new circumstances, the European Union must adopt to exactly these new circumstances. We in Europe have for too long relied on the influence of normative power and absolved ourselves from the need to proactively define, to enforce, and to defend our interests and our values in the world. This has to change. This is the big task for the next term of the European institutions, and we will be electing a new European Parliament from the 6th to the 9th of June in our 27 member states. The European Union needs to come of age as a geopolitical actor that can set a vision for its role in the world, identify desirable political goals, and craft plans meant to achieve those. To this end, let me mention 3 points which are, for my political work in Brussels and Strasbourg, of particular relevance. First, the European Union can only credibly defend its interests in the world if we speak with one voice. This is our Achilles heel. The fact that single countries, time and time again, are able to abuse their veto power, very much like the United Nations Security Council, for political horse trading, I can tell you this can be very frustrating. It is the need for unanimity that has allowed certain member states of the European Union, sometimes influenced by third countries, to block a decision otherwise supported by all the other 26 member states. As chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I will not miss any opportunity to call for introducing qualified majority voting. At the same time, I am aware that particularly some of our smaller member states fear a decreased ability to then influence foreign policy at the EU level when population size is translated into voting power. Progress in this debate requires persuasion and in the end can only be gradual. And I also know that the crucial ingredient to a winning strategy is to create an affirmative narrative rather than to repeat problems associated with unanimous voting. My second point, the European Union must emphasize multilateral forums as our cooperation of choice. We stand and we defend the international rules-based multilateral order. As the competition between the United States and China is redefining the global balance of power, exclusive formats of cooperation are gaining relevance. The quadrilateral security dialogue, the Quad, the BRICS, or the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for a Trans-Pacific Partnership, the CPTPP, bear witness to this mind. The European Union must seek to promote traditional multilateralism and display an unconditional commitment to the universal values of the rules-based international order. Accordingly, we keep on reinforcing inclusive forms of multilateral governance, and we encourage stronger interinstitutional cooperation with multilateral organizations that are integral to the international rules-based system and the management of global commons, chief amongst them, of course, Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, the United Nations and its agencies. And thirdly, last but not least, I would like to emphasize the significance of stronger bilateral and regional partnerships that enable us to assert our interests globally, from our closest neighbors and allies to those who are far away but need us most. The European Union should cooperate with partners to defend the rules-based order and to maintain a principled position vis-à-vis those who challenge our values and principles. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, South Korea, Japan, India, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and many more countries come to my mind. Honourable delegates, at this conference you will be working in 10 different committees on a range of different topics. With huge interest, I read the very detailed programme of this OLMUN. All topics you have selected share their sense of urgency and great relevance. The European Union is tackling very similar challenges. So to conclude, allow me to share with you some of the progress achieved on our side. In the United Nations Economic and Social Council, you will be debating artificial intelligence. Ever since the emergence of chatbots like ChatGPT, debates on artificial intelligence have become omnipresent. The European Union has just passed the world's first comprehensive law on artificial intelligence, the AI Act. It aims to regulate artificial intelligence to ensure better conditions for the development and use of this innovative technology. At the same time, it ensures that AI is handled safely, transparently, traceably, and in a non-discriminatory nature. In the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, your discussions, I read, will center around space. In its work program for 2024, for this year, the European Commission designated outer space as one of the key priorities. A first ever space law in the European Union is being drafted as we speak. It is supposed to regulate the ongoing developments in space, including traffic management, sustainability, and cybersecurity. Lastly, illicit financing of armed conflict is a major issue of this conference. Illicit financing of armed conflict fuels, but also maintains tensions globally. Just this year, the European Union adopted a new anti-money laundering package that aims to hinder terrorist financing. This is supposed to plug loopholes that currently enable criminals to launder their dirty money and circumvent financial sanctions. Honourable delegates, the theme of this year's OLMUN conference reads, "Envision, engage, and empower to navigate a new age." This title has been very well chosen. It resembles the spirit of the founding fathers of our European Union. Citing Robert Schuman, the great French foreign minister from Alsace, he said in his world-famous Schuman Declaration in 1950, just 5 years after the end of the atrocities of the Second World War, Schuman at that time said, "World peace cannot be safeguarded without the making of creative efforts proportionate to the dangers which threaten it." The power of ideas and values goes beyond borders. It shapes our world. It gives us guidance in uncertain times, in moments of turmoil. And there are so many moments of turmoil, unfortunately, on this earth just now. Creative and courageous ideas can enable to accomplish the seemingly impossible. So in the next days, you will debate, you will discuss, and you will envision creative ideas for the challenges ahead. Not only as a father of 2 teenage daughters, I am always thrilled when young people are enthusiastic and engaged in global issues. Together, you represent, here in this Weser-Ems-Halle, global cooperation as it should be. You're peaceful, you're quiet, you're even still listening. People from different countries coming together to find solutions to challenges through constructive debate and an exchange of ideas. That is what the United Nations is all about. Your model United Nations is built on open minds and it is built on fresh ideas. Many of you have been asked to represent national agendas that you may personally disagree with. I'm looking at the delegation of the Russian Federation or Belarus. But this open-mindedness is, in the end, the essence of successful diplomacy, the ability to understand and analyze all positions, including those that you oppose. However, let me emphasize this message. Respecting each other's positions, respecting each other's opinions is key to resolve global challenges. This principle is not only valid for the highest political stages, but also in everybody's day-to-day life. Thank you, thanks to all of you for your commitment. I wish you all the most stimulating and successful conference, and I'm very sure that one of the future foreign ministers of my country, Germany, will be sitting in this room today. Thank you very much.
Mr. David McAllister, thank you very much for your wonderful speech. We would like to express our sincerest gratitude. Would you please remain on the stage for one more moment, please? We would like to express our sincerest gratitude for taking the time to be here. Thank you very much.
Allow me just to speak German for one moment. An alle Deutschen und an alle Europäerinnen und Europäer im Saal. Denkt dran, nächsten Sonntag ist Europawahl. Geht hin, sorgt für eine höhere Wahlbeteiligung. Wir überlassen unser vereintes Europa nicht den Radikalen, den Demagogen und den Nationalisten, die unser Europa zerstören wollen. Danke.
We will now hear the first set of opening speeches by our delegates. For each set, we will call up 6 or 7 delegates to present their speeches, all of whom have previously agreed to hold a speech. Clapping is only in order after each set of opening speeches, not after a singular speech. And to the delegates, please only leave the stage after each set is finished. After each set of opening speeches, we will allow up to 3 rights of reply. Each speech may only be referred to once. Such replies may not exceed 30 seconds and are not to be posed as questions, and they must refer to one of the preceding opening speeches only. There will be no dialogue between the delegates in the process. If we hit our hammer once, we would like to ask the delegate to come to their closing remarks. After the second hit, please yield the floor back to the presidency. Note passing is in order during opening speeches. With the delegations of Australia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Canada, and Chad, please approach the stage. Please go up to the stage. The House will come to order, please. The delegate of Australia, you now have the floor.
Hello? No. Esteemed delegates, Honourable Presidency, as a representative of Australia, I come before you today to express our concerns about the current political changes that our country and the world are facing. Authoritarianism, nationalism and populism threaten singular democracies as much as international cooperation, the product of decades of hard work. Meanwhile, climate change is forcing us to step into action today to ensure a safe future, and inequality is dividing our societies further and further. My fellow delegates, the challenges we face are daunting, but we have overcome great challenges in the past and we can do so again. However, we must use the opportunity of this conference in order to work together, to listen to one another and to find solutions. We must recognize that the problems we face are not unique to any one country and that the solutions must come from all of us. So don't stop believing. Thank you. I yield the floor back to the
delegates,
presidency.
please yield the floor back to the presidency. Okay. Since the delegate of Bhutan is unfortunately ill today, we will move on with the delegate of Bosnia and Herzegovina. You now have the floor.
Honorable President, esteemed delegates, dear guests. We are living in a world of disquiet, said our UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in 2019. Unfortunately, we as nations have since then not achieved to appease the persistent tensions between us. Our world is still tormented by wars, climate crisis, and inequality. As the United Nations, it is our duty and responsibility to stay true to our principles and charter. We must prove to our peoples that we care about their well-being and are unhesitant to stand up for them. We must prove to them that we are not just making empty promises. We must follow through and take action. On behalf of the Federal Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina, I welcome you all to a peaceful, lucrative, and rewarding debate. Thank you. I yield the floor back to the President.
Clapping is not in order, only after each set. The next speech will be by the delegate of Bulgaria. Delegate of Bulgaria, the floor is yours.
Honorable Presidency, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, we are deeply honored to address this assembly. In awareness of the pressing challenges that humankind is facing, solutions are urgently needed. We look forward to working together in order to find global answers to global crises. In this world of increased uncertainty, we must deal with many major defining challenges simultaneously, and our future may be challenged stronger than ever before. We have to deal with terrorism and wars like the Russian aggression, while the triple planetary crisis of climate change, species extinction, and pollution threatens life on our planet and thus the future of all of us. At the very same time, we witness the systematic erosion of democracy and human rights and the rise
delegate, please come to the closing remarks.
And the rise of authoritarianism. In this world, we need to envision, engage,
please
and empower in order to navigate a new age.
Please yield the floor back to the Presidency.
Yeah. Thank you. We yield the floor back to the Presidency.
Thank you, Delegate. The next speech will be by the Delegate of Canada. Delegate of Canada, the floor is yours.
Okay. Dear Presidency, honorable chairs, and esteemed delegates, the delegation of Canada stands before you with optimism and pride, confident that we, the United Nations, can resolve and find solutions to the issues we will discuss in the coming days. Canada is known for its friendliness, optimism, and cooperation. We work hard to maintain freedom and peace on this planet. Therefore, we are committed to be most helpful and active for the international community. Likewise, we are sure all of us are diligent in solving the crisis. In this challenging and transformative decade, marked by global crisis and rapid technological advancements, we must face these subjects rationally and peacefully, united as one. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. We yield the floor back to the President.
Thank you, Delegate. We will now continue by an opening speech by the Delegate of Chad. The floor is yours.
Honorable chairs and esteemed delegates, as a delegate of Chad, it's a great honor to be here today. Illicit financing and armed conflict are one of the problems of today's world. Failure to prevent them directly affects peace between countries. Countries taking actions that will continue the war and harm civilians disrupt the peace of the world, especially countries that are economically underdeveloped and where access to education and job opportunities are difficult. They're greatly affected by these situations. As Chad, we attach importance to the security of our people. We hope that at this meeting, effective decisions will be taken and peace will be established between states. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Please yield the floor back to the Presidency. Please yield the floor back to the Presidency.
Yeah?
Please yield the floor back to the Presidency.
Okay, back to the President.
Thank you. Since we have now finished with one set of opening speeches, this is now time for rights of reply. Is any delegation wishing to exercise the right of reply, please raise your placards high. Delegation of Ecuador, you've been recognized. Please approach one of the microphones. The floor is yours.
The delegation of Ecuador simply wants to quickly affirm its deep and sincere affirmation of the points of Bosnia-Herzegovina about how we must act with the people behind our nations in mind, with not only looking at how we talk, not only offer empty talk, but actually improve the people that we aim to represent on this Council of Nations, a family of nations united for the wills of our people.
Please come to your closing remarks. Thank you. Is there any other delegation wishing to exercise their right of reply? Please remember, it can't be to the same speech. Seeing as there are none, we will now continue with a quick introduction of our team, and you may leave the stage. Thank you. Now, before we continue, we will very quickly introduce our team to you. First of all, the Secretariat consists of the main organizers of the OLMUN, from left to right on this picture, the Deputy President of the General Assembly, Lada Blech, the President of the General Assembly, Lenja Hinrichs, the Secretary General, Philipp Bruns, the Deputy Secretary General, Emily Rossop, and the Treasurer, Mika Niederheide. Despite the fact that all these positions have different key focuses, the Secretariat can be consulted for any issue and concern you might have. You can recognize us from our black badges. The inner circle, that can be recognized by the blue hoodies, the OLMUN logo on it, is further responsible for planning and setting up the venues. They wear blue badges. The chairs are leading the committee sessions for each committee. They guide you, and they are open for any and all questions you might have. Chairs in the inner circle can both be recognized by their blue badges. In case any of you have an issue that you feel you need help with and support with, that you don't feel comfortable sharing with your chairs, we have established an awareness team consisting of trust persons that are guided by our ombudspersons, Marlene Schmidt and Jonas Lüttke. This team is equipped to help you with anything you might struggle with. The trust persons can be recognized through their pink badges and will be visiting your committees frequently. We will now continue with a speech by Mayoress Petra Averbeck. We kindly ask you to approach the stage. It is a privilege to welcome Petra Averbeck at this opening ceremony. Ms. Averbeck is one of the City of Oldenburg's mayoresses, representing the city in formal matters. She has been a member of the CDU since 1977, where she works, among other professions, as treasurer in the Women's Union of the party on a national level and is very engaged with the local group of the Women's Union. Please welcome Petra Averbeck. During her speech, note passing will be out of order. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Dear Mr. Bruns, dear Mr. McAllister, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the city of Oldenburg. The OLMUN is really a great project. It is the largest modern United Nations conference in Germany, with more than 700 students attending every year. That is very impressive. I want to thank you. Thank you to the organizers and everyone for coming, especially those from far away from countries. In fact, Oldenburg has a long history of international friendship. After all, Oldenburg used to belong to Denmark, France, and a short time, Russia. We even have an independent free state once with diplomatic relation to other countries. This kind of history shaped us. Today, we have 8 official city partnerships. We focus on cultural exchange with European neighbors and maintain connections with China and South Africa. Because we believe in the value of being international. Your participation, dear international students, is a part of this tradition. And the city of Oldenburg is very glad to have you here, and I'm very proud of you. I don't know much time you have to look around. Your program will be tight, I think. So let me tell a few words about our city and where you have come to stay. Oldenburg is the center of a large region, giving home to 176,000 people. It's popular for its high quality of life and its leisure activities. We have hospitals, courts, theaters, museums, and a variety of schools and 2 universities. Many people enjoy our shopping opportunities in the pedestrian zone. Our historic buildings and gardens are worth seeing too. So if you find the opportunity, just stroll around, be curious, and gain new experience. It will be a nice change to space after your busy conference days. With that in mind, I wish you a successful, inspiring OLMUN. I'm convinced, as long as there are young, committed people like you, we have a hopeful future to build. Make the most of it and enjoy our time, your time. Und lassen Sie mich noch mal ganz kurz auch noch eine persönliche Rede auch noch mal anschließen, was auch McAllister gesagt hat. Nehmen Sie bitte von Ihrem Wahlrecht Gebrauch. Das ist ganz wichtig für die Europawahl. Vielen, vielen Dank und viel Spaß.
Mayoress Petra Averbeck, thank you ever so much for this inspiring speech. Please stay on stage for just one more moment.
Thank you. Oh, vielen Dank. Oh, vielen Dank. Vielen Dank. Dankeschön. Now we take a picture, and Mr. McAllister, won't you come to the... Okay? For Etienne? Yeah, okay. All together, yes?
Just do it in the end.
Okay.
We will now guide you through this week's timetable. It is also available in the download section on our website. It is currently Tuesday and we are at the opening ceremony. Most of you have already attended the introduction. Later today, all female delegates will have the opportunity to take part in the female empowerment panel, which will essentially encourage you to be confident during the committee sessions. More information on that will follow later. The barbecue after, starting at 7, is for everyone and a nice option to get to know people. Both these activities are at the Graf Anton Günther School. Wednesday will start with the first committee session at 9 a.m. Please be on time. During the committee session, the MUN directors are warmly invited to the MUN Director Breakfast at 10 a.m. After the lunch break from 12 until 1 p.m., the next committee session starts. Starting at 5 p.m., all chairs and main submitters are required to be at the approval panel to correct and format the resolutions. Afterwards, starting at 7, there will be games like volleyball, which is great to further connect with your fellow delegates. Thursday's committee session will be at identical times as Wednesday. After, the OLMUN party will start at 7 in the Gleispark for all. After 10, it'll continue at the Club Amadeus, but only people 16 and older will be allowed to enter. Please remember to bring a valid form of ID to either party venue additionally to your badge, which you will have to bring to all evening activities. On Friday, there will be one last committee session from 9 until 12:30. After a longer lunch break, the closing ceremony poses the end of OLMUN 2024. If you are confused about the venues, they too can be found on the OLMUN website in the download section and in your conference guide. We will now move on to our next set of opening speeches. The delegations of China, Cuba, France, India, Italy, Micronesia, and North Macedonia, we kindly ask you to approach the stage. Musst du dann Zeit? Ja. Soll ich anfangen? Can the House please come to order? I yield the floor now to the delegate of China. There's the button.
Hello? Okay. Distinguished Secretariat and honorable delegates, the People's Republic of China have endured arduous challenges in the face of equal opportunities, economic stresses, and the rise of artificial intelligence with illicit financing around the globe. This incites violence within member states, causing millions to fall victim to the effects. Addressing these issues is critical in order to ensure a safer environment for global partnership and growth. As the economic powerhouse of the world, we strive to achieve a safe market with open trading and benefiting all. Though without total agreement and cooperation with sharing of intelligence and joint operations, we will not be able to accomplish our goals. Perception, sensibility, and definitive action is required to establish stability, prosperity for the global community. Glory to the CCP. Thank you. We have the floor to the presidency.
Thank you, delegate. Clapping is not in order. I now yield the floor to the delegate of Cuba.
Distinguished delegates, honorable presidency, during the next 3 days, the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women will discuss how to prevent and respond to gender-based violence and femicide. Although most citizens are unaware of the extent of the issue, many women across the globe suffer from a rise in gender-based violence. We must especially protect and empower the most vulnerable women, those who live in politically unstable countries and regions of armed conflict. It is time to take action. The Republic of Cuba is looking forward to this year's conference and to making its own contribution to a safer and better world. Muchas gracias. I yield the floor back to the presidency.
Thank you, delegate. I now yield the floor to the delegate of France. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Dear Mr. President, honorable delegates, regarding dozens of conflicts spread over the world, it must be an important goal for the member states of the United Nations to aim for peaceful coexistence. For the delegation of France, it is important to state out that there's not just black and white, that no country is above the law, right, delegation of Russia? And no country should be forgotten, and therefore we will intensify our efforts to find a solution in the civil war in Sudan and South Sudan. Concerning the international diplomacy, the French Republic and its partners in Europe and abroad try to intend the best finding a way for constructive debates and to solve the problems we have. Thank you very much. The delegation of France yields the floor back to the presidency.
Clapping is not in order. Thank you, delegates. I kindly yield the floor to the representative of India.
Honorable Presidency, esteemed chairs, distinguished delegates, Namaste. We gather here at a juncture where the challenges of climate change, economic disparity, and global health crisis demand collective action. India believes in the power of multiculturalism to address these issues and stands firmly committed to the principle of peace, cooperation, and sustainable development. Today, exchanging ideas and working together are key to provide for a sustainable, safe, and peaceful future on this planet. Let us unite our efforts to create a world that reflects our shared values. Thank you. I yield the floor back to the President.
Thank you, delegates. The delegate of Italy, you now have the floor.
Dear Presidency, honorable delegates, Italy stands committed to global cooperation for peace and progress. We uphold the principles of the United Nations and advocate for multilateral solutions to our shared challenges. Italy pledges support for initiatives promoting peace, combating climate change, and advancing human rights. Let us work together for a better world. Thank you. We yield the floor back to the Presidency.
Thank you, delegates. The delegate of Micronesia, you now have the floor.
Honorable Presidency, esteemed chairs, fellow delegates, and dear guests. The delegation of the Federated States of Micronesia is delighted to see that so many young people from all over the world have gathered here to discuss with each other and find possible solutions to current problems. Envision, engage, empower, navigating a new age with new challenges for all of us. We must act now, face these challenges together, and help each other to achieve our goals. Because helping countries and people who need us is not just an act of kindness, but our duty and responsibility. Thank you. The Federated States of Micronesia yield the floor back to the Presidency.
Clapping is not in order. Thank you, delegates. I now yield the floor to the delegate of North Macedonia.
Honorable Presidents, distinguished delegates, dear guests, the delegation of North Macedonia is honored to participate in the debate on navigating a new age. We envision a future which is based on cooperation, unity, and equality. The country of North Macedonia provides a home for people of different ethnicities and cultures. Due to our location in the South-Central Balkans, we are the junction between the major cultural traditions of Europe and Asia. The goal of North Macedonia is to guarantee ethnic equality, human rights, and freedom in order to ensure peaceful, prosperous, and just life for our people. We're looking forward to productive debates and promising proposals. Thank you. The delegation of North Macedonia yields the floor back to the presidents.
Thank you, delegates. Clapping is in order now. It is now time for the rights of reply. If any delegation present wishes to make use of said right, please raise your placards high. Central African Republic.
We were just wondering, how can the delegate of France commend the Russian government for its courageous actions, while France has...
Please phrase your reply as a statement. You're not allowed to use questions.
All right, then. Can the delegate of France commend that Russian government for its courageous action, while France has not issued an official apology concerning its colonial history?
Clapping is not in order. Is there any other delegation wishing to use the right of reply? Grenada.
The delegation of Grenada, on the other hand, is very proud of the delegation of France and hopes that they have a very, very great few days in the couple of days. Thank you very much.
You can only refer to one country in a speech. Are there any other rights of reply in the House? Seeing as there are none, you may leave the stage now. Thank you. I now kindly welcome Jan-Christoph Oetjen, Vice President of the European Parliament. During his speech, note passing is out of order. Jan-Christoph Oetjen has worked in the Parliament of Lower Saxony for 16 years, mainly focusing on migration and agriculture, and has been part of the European Parliament since 2019 as a member of the German FDP and the European political group Renew Europe. In the European Parliament, he is part of multiple committees. For example, Vice Chair of the Committee on Transport and Tourism and substitute member of the Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs. We are honored that you took your time to attend this opening ceremony. Mr. Oetjen, I yield the floor to you.
Thank you, Honorable Presidency, esteemed delegates. I'm very proud being here today at this year's OLMUN edition as the Vice President of the European Parliament. You know that the members of our chamber represent and are the directly elected representatives of 450 million citizens in the European Union. And I'm very proud that this European Parliament is the only multilingual and multinational parliament in the world. As a liberal, I believe in multilateralism. I think that the world order that is based on multilateralism is a world order where nations speak to each other, where you can find compromise and where you prevent war and conflict. But I know that my dear colleague David McAllister already told you about multilateralism. So I want to talk a little bit about this European Union that is heading towards elections on, from the 6th to the 9th of June. And I can tell you that democracy in the European Union is under threat. I would even say under attack. It's under attack from outside the European Union, but as well from inside the European Union. And we're heading towards those elections not knowing if the citizens in Europe will cherish this European Union. So we're, as Democrats, we're advocating for a strong participation in those elections, because a strong participation in election means that the members of parliament may well represent their constituencies. And so it's from my perspective, of utmost importance that this participation is high. And there are several countries in this European Union that have allowed young people from the age of 16 and 17 to vote for the first time in those European elections. And I welcome this decision of Belgium, Germany, and Austria, because this means that the participation of the youth is encouraged. Same as your participation has been encouraged in this year's OLMUN edition. And I can tell you as a member of the European Parliament that almost all of the people that want to become trainee in my office, they have once participated in a Model United Nations. And for them, this has been an inspiring experience that triggered the wish to participate in political action. So I wish all of you delegates from all the nations wonderful Model United Nations, and may the flame of democracy be enlightened in your mind and your souls. And please do cherish the European elections. Take part if you're allowed to do so, because democracy is strong if everybody participates in it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Özcan, for that speech. Please remain on the stage.
We will now continue with our third set of opening speeches, but before, you may now take off your jackets. Dress code is hereby lifted. May the House please come back to order. Let us hereby remind you to represent your delegation's opinion, not your personal one, during the entire week. This also applies to note passing. Ask yourself, what would a professional politician of the country I represent do and think about a certain issue? We will now move on with our third set of opening speeches. We kindly ask the delegates of the Philippines, Republic of Korea, Russia, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Singapore to the stage. Since the delegate of the Philippines is not present today, I now yield the floor to the Republic of Korea. The floor is yours.
Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, the Republic of Korea remains gravely concerned about the ongoing civil war in Sudan and the human rights violations. Millions have been displaced and forced out of their homes, and there are reports of extrajudicial killings, sexual assault, and recruitment of minors as soldiers. The Republic of Korea asks all parties to engage in peace negotiations for an immediate ceasefire. We stress the urgent need for increased humanitarian aid and provide further support. The The Republic of Korea reaffirms its support and commitment to human rights and peace, and is prepared to work with other nations to bring this crisis to an end. Thank you. I yield the floor back to the presidency.
Thank you, Delegate. I now yield the floor to the delegation of Russia. Please remember that if you leave the room, you will not be permitted back in.
Honorable Presidency, esteemed delegates, dear guests, our gathering here today symbolizes our collective readiness to navigate through the number of present problems. We stand as the United Nations, united by the charter that we all collectively agreed on, yet we face an imbalance. The West persistently forces their so-called rules-based order on other nations. Their selfish pseudo-justice and morals can be easily switched on and off, and remote control is in their hands. As of now, this is the past. It's time to seize control. Thank you. I yield the floor back to the presidency.
May the House please come to order? Clapping is not in order. Dear staffs, please do not allow the delegations that have left the room to re-enter. I now yield the floor to the delegation of Senegal.
Dear Presidents, distinguished delegates, I stand here representing the Republic of Senegal, committed to combating gender-based violence and femicide. These issues threaten the lives and dignity of countless women and girls. In Senegal, we have implemented legislative reforms, awareness campaigns and support services. However, we do understand that our efforts must be part of a larger global movement. We must focus on 3 key areas: prevention, protection and prosecution. First, invest in educational and community programs to challenge harmful gender norms. Second, strengthen protection mechanisms, providing self-shelters, legal assistance and psychological help. Third, enforce robust legal frameworks to hold perpetrators accountable. Senegal calls upon all member states to collaborate for policies prioritizing the safety and well-being of women and girls. Thank you. The delegate yields the floor back to the President.
Thank you, Delegate. Clapping is not in order. We will now move on with the delegation of Sierra Leone. The floor is yours.
Honorable Presidency, fellow delegates, picture a nation rising from the ashes of its own turmoil, bearing witness to the scars etched by its very soul. Sierra Leone, a country which has overcome its own civil war, stands before you today, not just as a nation, but as a living testament to the transformative power of peace. In Sudan, the calls for justice echo louder each day. Let us not overlook the faces behind the statistics, the families, the children seeking for safety. Together, let us illuminate the path from the darkness of war to the beacon of hope. In our joint efforts, we are happy to share our first-hand experience with the measures taken and supervised by the Security Council. I yield the floor back to the President.
Thank you, Delegate. Clapping is not in order. I now yield the floor to the delegation of Singapore.
Distinguished Presidency, dear chairs and fellow delegates, we are gathered here today to embark on a journey of diplomacy, collaboration and innovation. The delegation of Singapore envisions the future as technological, sustainable, powerful and above all unstoppable. As a fusion of cultures, languages and traditions, we cooperate, we communicate and we engage. Therefore, these are the values we would like to encourage during this conference. We empower by uplifting our citizens through investing in their education, health, and social welfare. Furthermore, our ability to navigate this new age stems from our willingness to learn, to adapt, to lead, and to make this world a better place. Thank you. We yield the floor back to the President.
Thank you, Delegate. Clapping is now in order. Does any delegation wish to exercise their right of reply? Please raise your placards. Lebanon, you've been recognized.
We would like to remind the Russian delegation that they once agreed to these Western rules, which they are still committing to participate in as the UN, and we would like to ask, ironically, why they don't just leave the UN if they don't accept these rules. Thank you.
Clapping is not in order. Is any other delegation wishing to make use of their right of reply? Please remember that you can't refer to the speech of the Russian delegation anymore. Yes, I can't read that, but you've been recognized.
The delegation of North Korea claims to be shocked by the conditions in Sudan, yet they do not bat an eye at the conditions in the concentration camps of their own country.
Is there any other delegation wishing? Central African Republic, yes, you've been recognized.
We would like to show our gratitude to the brave Russian delegation coming all the way.
You mustn't refer to the Russian delegation anymore. Only one right of reply may regard one opening speech. We will now move on with a video of one of our sponsors, the Core, which has been very helpful with finding rooms and has been very accommodating for us at the OLMUN. Once again to the Core team, and now we will play you the so-called OLMUN morning show. Since every morning of the OLMUN week, you will be provided with the newest version of the show created by our TV team. So let's take a look at the first morning show of OLMUN 2024.
Welcome to OLMUN 2024. This is the morning show. I'm Paula, your host this week. Before we dive into the details, let me introduce myself. I am the face of the morning show and I'll be keeping you informed and entertained throughout the conference. Now, let's take a moment to recognize the incredible team behind OLMUN. Our Secretariat and the IC members work tirelessly to ensure this conference runs smoothly. Here I have a few of the faces. Philipp Bruns, the Secretary General, Elmhili Rossop, the Deputy Secretary General, Lenja Hinrichs, the President of the General Assembly, Lada Blech, the Deputy President of the General Assembly, and Mika Jelko-Niederheide, the Treasurer of this year's OLMUN. As we speak, the opening ceremony is underway, kicking off what promises to be another memorable OLMUN conference. That's already most of what has been planned for you today. At 6 p.m. there will be a female empowerment panel for all the female and non-binary people among you, which will last about an hour, and it is the last serious part of the day. After that, the evening event for all the OLMUN participants. For the detail, let's hand it over to our entertainment team.
Dear participants, I'm this year's entertainment manager, Leon Ye. Sadly, my co-manager, Lotte Kuppmann, is not here because she's ill. Therefore, I will now present you the evening activities alone. Today, we will be having a barbecue at the Graf Anton Ginther Schule, starting at 6 p.m. We will provide you with something to eat like vegan and vegetarian sausages and grilled cheese. Also, we will play some music. I hope you can meet some new people, bond with them, and maybe you even become friends. You will see us there this evening. I also have to inform you about Thursday's evening activity. Sadly, not everybody can join us at the party at the Amadeus, because we can only get around about another 300 people in the club. Therefore, we will be selling tickets. You can start buying them at today's evening activity and tomorrow's, but you need to be 16 or older to get them.
And then, new this year, after a successful introduction last year, our trust persons. The trust persons are under the supervision of the ombudspersons, a novelty at this year's OLMUN. Jonas Lütke and Marlene Schmidt will be the first to bear this title. Marlene herself will tell you more about them.
Hello, dear participants. My name is Marlene. I'm one of the ombudspersons this year at the OLMUN. As you've heard already, this position has been newly created at OLMUN. We supervise the trust persons who are easily recognizable by their pink badges. They are a safe space, a person to trust. OLMUN wants you all to feel safe during the conference and the evening activities. So, whatever issue you might be facing, don't hold back. The trust persons will assist you in figuring out a solution and listen to your concerns, however big or small, without judgment.
Before we move on, we want to make a quick mention of the recyclable OLMUN cups. Wherever you buy one, you will pay a €2 fee that you get back upon returning the cup. As each year, there are several venues offering discounts for every participant with an OLMUN badge. Make sure to check them out during the breaks. These are the venues you can get discounts at: Antons Kneipe, Baldinis, Captiva, Mu, Extrablatt, French Connection, Fritz, Hans im Glück, L'Osteria, Liners, Safran, Vapiano and Voiten. For further information, you can look them up in the conference guide, like all the other important information surrounding the OLMUN. Also, don't forget to get your OLMUN merch at the shop during the opening, any of the evening activities, or at the closing. At the OLMUN shop, you can get various items, such as the I Love OLMUN, the Skyline shirt, and the OLMUN polo shirt. Those are perfect as a souvenir or as a gift for family and friends. Now, let's see what the weather has in store for us today. Marie, what can you tell us?
Thank you, Paula. The weather is not very good on the opening day of the OLMUN. We can expect some rain showers and wind from the south. Temperatures range from 14 in the morning to 80 degrees in the afternoon. All in all, grey skies and rainy weather. So keep your umbrellas at hand and stay dry. Have a nice first day at OLMUN. That's it from the weather. Back to you, Paula.
That sure is something. Thank you, Marie. Don't forget to stay connected with the OLMUN through our app, Instagram, TikTok and the blog that you can find at digitaldailyDiplomat.org for the latest updates and behind-the-scenes action. That's all for now. Stay tuned for more updates throughout the day on your preferred social media, and remember to make the most of your OLMUN experience. I'll see you tomorrow.
A big thank you to our TV team for this beautiful morning show.
For our fourth and final set of opening speeches, we now ask the delegations of Switzerland, Tunisia, Ukraine, United States of America, Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, and Rapid Support Forces to approach the stage. The delegate of Switzerland, you now have the floor.
Honorable Presidents and Chairs, esteemed fellow delegates and guests, as representative of a diplomatic state, we are grateful to take part in this conference to represent the country of Switzerland, a country known for its natural beauty, political stability, and significant contribution to the work of diplomacy worldwide. As a neutral country, Switzerland has long been a mediator in international conflicts and has hosted various important diplomatic meetings. In our role as a representative of a democratic state, we are committed to promoting peace, international cooperation, and maintaining good relations with other countries. We believe that open dialogue, diplomacy, and cooperation are key to achieve sustainable global progress and peace. Therefore, we are looking forward to collaborate with other countries in an effort to address global challenges, advocate for human rights, and ensure justice and equality worldwide. Thank you. We yield the floor back to the presidency.
Thank you, delegate. I now yield the floor to the delegate of Tunisia.
Esteemed Presidency and Inner Circle, honorable delegates, dear guests, innovation, new technology, and the use of space, that's the time we live in today. A new age that is revolutionizing our world. We have to envision, engage, and empower that new age to experience a great development. But our new age presents old problems, problems such as mental health, colonial looted art, and gender-based violence. It is because of these problems and the development opportunities that we are here today, trying to find solutions for a peaceful, harmonious, and prosperous future. Solutions to make our world great again, and solutions to let everyone be part of that great new world. The Republic of Tunisia invites you to find these solutions. It has been a great honor to stand here in front of you. Thank you for your time and attention. The delegation of Tunisia yields the floor back to the presidency.
Thank you, delegates. I now yield the floor to the delegate of Ukraine. Ukraine has been excluded, so I now yield the floor to the delegate of the United States of America.
Dear Mr. President, honorable delegates, people and nations all over the world have to endure many forms of problems. But whether it is armed conflict, inequality, poverty, or any other issue, it concerns all of us, the members of the United Nations. It is our task to try and solve these problems, however difficult that may be. We, the United States of America, will continue to be the main financial contributor to ensure safety, peace, and unity on a global level. Furthermore, we hope to encourage nations to put aside their differences, as it is only by working together with respect that we can effectively pursue better times. Thank you. We yield the floor back to the President.
Clapping is not in order. Thank you, delegates. The delegate of Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, you now have the floor.
Distinguished President, esteemed chairs, honored guests, fellow delegates of recognized countries. With challenges emerging all around the world, the delegation of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan wants to cite a man who revolutionized this field. For everybody going through tough times, believe me, been there, done that. And the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan has been there and has done that. So let the delegation bring in their expertise regarding femicide, illicit financing of armed conflicts, and ensuring equal opportunities for people with disabilities.
Can the delegate please
The delegation
come to
of
an
the
end?
Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan is honored to be
Please
part of this
yield the floor
conference
back
and
to
looking
the
forward to
presidency.
fruitful debate full of respect and recognition.
Can the delegate please?
The delegation of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan yields the floor back to the presidency.
Clapping is not in order. The delegate of Rapid Support Forces, you now have the floor.
Honorable Presidency, esteemed delegates, dear guests. The country of Sudan is facing a lot of different crises, the civil war for our freedom and safety being the biggest. At this conference, the RSF hopes to reach solutions for Sudan to ensure freedom and peace not only for Sudan, but also for the whole continent of Africa. The Rapid Support Forces of Sudan hope that we can reach solutions by joining together, debating and trying to understand each other. We also appreciate the opportunity to represent another point of view than the Sudanese government, which tries to exclude and silence the RSF, although it has a legal right to rule our beautiful country of Sudan. In the end, all of this might even lead to Sudan becoming a failed state. This delegate wishes all the delegations a great conference in which we join together and solve the most challenging problems of our time.
Can the delegate please come to an end?
In Sudan and around the world. Thank you. The delegate yields his time back to the presidency.
Thank you, delegate. Clapping is now in order. Is there any delegation wishing to exercise their right of reply? The delegate of Mozambique, you have been recognized.
If the Rapid Support Forces want peace in Africa, they have to cease fire during the MUN conference and in general keep their promises and cease fire.
Clapping is not in order. Are there any other delegation wishing to use their right of reply? The delegate of Congo.
Hello. Regarding the daily conflicts in Africa, we, the Congo, declare that the post-colonial influence isn't over yet and that Sudan has the mentioned problems also due to current day
The speech of
exploitation.
rapid support forces has already been referred to. Are there any other delegation? Yes, Australia.
How does the US stand here and say we have to protect human rights, while wanting to capture the whistleblower Julian Assange, who is an Australian citizen, which is clearly against the UN law?
Thank you, delegates. You may leave the stage now.
The opening ceremony will now come to an end. Thank you for your speeches, and a special thank you to our guest speakers, David McAllister, Petra Averbeck, and Jan-Christoph Oetjen. The female empowerment panel starts at 6 in the Graf Anton Günther Schule, and the barbecue starts at 7 in the same location. You may change your clothes for these, as the dress code does not apply to evening events. Thank you for your attention.